Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday morning. Well, for most people, it's the start of the weekend and days off. Sure, we all like the fact that other people work on the weekends, otherwise the grocery stores and Walmart and whatever isn't open. But most people are off starting this weekend, and this is when we get to go to our second job. In other words, doing stuff around the house. Whether that includes prepping or not, who knows? Now, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me. I don't care what side of the fence you sit on here when I say we're in trouble. Okay, the world is ever so close to World War III. The sense of morality in the world is shot. Want an example? Just take a look at the opening ceremonies from the Olympics yesterday and the drag show mocking the Last Supper. Okay. No, I didn't watch it. Just seeing the pictures was enough to make me throw up. Yeah, no, I won't be watching 1 second of the Olympics. Don't care. Okay, sorry, when they're going to have a whole bunch of gender-confused people competing. That ain't sport. That's a farce. But with the collapse of civilization that we see, that modern society, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Asia, coming, all you're looking at this point is it's going to get worse before it gets better. Does World War III come? I don't know. According to Donald Trump, if he doesn't get elected, probably. Okay. Whether that's accurate or not, it remains to be seen. But it's a possibility, and that's what we deal with here, is possibilities. Preparing for something that could hit us unexpectedly. I don't know, like maybe something bigger than the CrowdStrike disaster that happened earlier this week, where banks and planes and hospitals and everything went down because of a computer glitch. How difficult is that to have happen? So what I wanted to talk about today, being Saturday, and when people usually get paid on Fridays and they go get their supplies on Saturday, I wanted to talk about 10 things that chances are you're not going to be able to get if things get worse, and you need to make provisions for it now. The reason I say you're not going to be able to get it isn't because of transportation or anything like that. It's just because it ain't in your local area for most people. Okay. So let's start. And this is all stuff you need, by the way. Salt. Okay. Salt is necessary in our diet. We need it to live. How much salt do you have? You need it to cook. You need it to can. We have to have salt. We will die without salt. There's only a couple of places in the United States where there are salt mines that people can get salt. Ain't none around me, okay? I need to have salt in my stockpile. Cheap. Less than $1 for one of those things at Walmart. Stock up on salt, as in tens, if not hundreds of pounds of it. Yeah, I know it takes storage space. Guess what? So does everything else. Sugar. Okay. We don't need sugar, but a lot of your canning recipes, especially if you've got fruits or something like that, require sugar. If you're like me and you make your own alcohol, whether it's wine or you have a still or something like that, which is going to be a highly desirable item in an SHTF situation, you need sugar. You need lots of sugar, okay? Let's give you this as an idea. I made another 3 gallons of wine yesterday. That took 16 cups of sugar. It's a lot of sugar, okay? In the United States, we ain't getting sugar. Very few people can grow sugarcane, can process sugar. Maybe sorghum, okay? But even then, Do you know how? Do you have the equipment to process sugar cane? I doubt it. It might be worth getting yourself, 5 or 10 5-gallon buckets full of sugar. Ain't that expensive. Ain't that cheap, but it's definitely worthwhile. You want to make jams, jellies, pies, sweets, you're going to need comfort food. Sugar's something you should have. Coffee. How many of you are like me that the day starts with a cup of coffee? It's like if I don't have my daughter always used to tell me, running joke, you never talk to dad until he's had a shower and a cup of coffee. Pretty much true. I ain't awake yet. Don't start asking me questions. Not a whole lot of places you're going to get coffee. Growing coffee in the United States? Doesn't happen, right? Okay. Storing up coffee. It will be a huge boon to you, okay? You want to talk about a barter item that you could have? Not talking about trading coffee beans. You imagine in an SHTF situation, and it's, January, and somebody wants, a cup of coffee, right? Storing coffee. Whether you store it as beans and grind it yourself, whether you get coffee and vacuum seal it, and you've got bricks of coffee, that's fine. I know people say, it goes stale. Are you going to care? It isn't going to spoil, but even if it's a little stale, it's still coffee. Canning equipment. Sure, we all talk about this. In SHTF, I'm going to have my garden. Great, we're harvesting now. Picked some tomatoes yesterday, picked some peppers yesterday. What's going to happen in January? Okay, you're not going to be picking anything. You need to be able to store that food. Glass jars break. You're going to run out of lids. Rings, I think we all have tons of them. Okay, don't have to worry about that. But how many of you have ever dropped a jar of preserved food or had a jar break in the canner, whatever? Breaks when you're washing it, or, chips. They don't last forever. They're made of glass. You're not going to find anybody that's going to go out and be a glass blower and blow canning jars for you. Having plenty of them, and most of us probably already do, but let me tell you this, you're gonna need more. Clothing, right? Unless you live somewhere where you're a nudist, and it's warm all year, you're going to need clothing. You're going to need gloves. You're going to need coats and shirts and pants and everything. Yeah, you need plenty of that because they ain't making more. You're going to have to repair what you have. You're going to need the fabric to do it. All those old clothes that you always have, that people, donate your old clothes. Make sure you save a good amount of those. Put a box in the attic of old clothes because you're going to need that fabric to patch a pair of pants, to patch a shirt, to put things together, to stuff a coat or anything. Sure, there's plenty of people that are seamstresses, plenty of people that know how to sew. That's a good thing. But where's the fabric coming from? Anybody got a loom at home? Raising cotton? I don't think so. Make sure that the clothing that you have, garage sales are great, okay? You find jeans at garage sales for $1 a pair. Who cares what shape they're in? Denim is a huge piece of fabric to have that can repair a lot of things. Who cares if in an SHTF situation, if you're not wearing Levi's or Guess jeans, or who cares, okay? Once that knee is ripped out of those pants that you're crawling around in the garden with, you're going to want them fixed. Shoes. How many cobblers are watching the channel? My guess would be 0. Nobody knows how to make shoes. We don't make them anymore. Get extra pairs of shoes. Whatever you normally wear. You should all have boots, okay? You should all have muck boots. You should all have rain boots, work boots. Some people say cowboy boots or work boots. That's up to you, okay? I prefer combat boots. But shoes, ain't nobody gonna be able to make shoes, and shoes wear out. Going along with shoes, shoelaces, or at least paracord, okay? You're going to have something like that because shoes wear out, shoelaces break, etc., 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 and you're going to need to be able to repair them because you ain't going to be able to buy more. If you've only got a couple of pairs of shoes, women, I'm not talking to you, and high heels don't count, okay? I'm talking about shoes that you can move in, boots, sneakers, something along those lines. We're not going for cocktail parties here. We're not going out to the club on Friday night. We're not going out to dinner, okay? We're talking about walking shoes, working shoes, because you're going to spend a lot of time on your feet. Buy good quality shoes. Chances are your feet aren't growing anymore. I mean, hell, I still wear the same size shoe I was wearing when I was about 12. So, yeah, any shoes that you buy now, they'll fit the rest of your life. Guns, right? Okay. I'm hoping everybody here has at least some, but I've said many times you should have at least a pistol, a .22, some sort of long rifle, if you will, okay, 308, 30-30, 30-06, something like that, for bigger game, and some sort of modern sporting rifle, whether you're an AR guy or an AK guy. It's not like you're going to be able to buy more. A lot of people will say if everything goes crazy, you're going to be able to pick them up from the casualties that are laying around. Okay, you and everybody else, you better be the first person there within seconds because somebody else is going to grab it. People may add ammo to this list. However, I'll kind of agree. A lot of people know how to reload. So the brass is important, having primers, et cetera, et cetera. The lead, if you will, lead's easy to melt, okay? You can do it over the kitchen stove in a tin can. It's pretty simple. I do that when I'm making fishing lures, all right? But lead will be easy to find because there's going to be a whole lot of car batteries just laying around that you can take the tops off of. You'll be able to find that. But secondary, make sure you've got plenty of ammo or at least know how to and have the equipment to reload. Again, same thing. You may be picking this up from the casualties laying around, but that ain't going to be on the ground that often. Fuel. Ain't no refineries, the home refinery kit. Gasoline, diesel, kerosene, propane, whatever you have, you need to have enough of. Propane is probably your best because propane doesn't go bad. You can get a propane tank, like a barbecue grill tank, or you can get the bigger ones or whatever. Put it in your garage, your shed. It'll be good for 20 years or more. Okay, gasoline, diesel, not so much. Hopefully it's not going to be 20 years that we're in SHTF. But at least make sure you have enough fuel to get you through 6 months to a year, okay, for whatever you need. And that includes your vehicle. Now, granted, you ain't going to be driving as much. You're not going to be making a weekend trip to Walmart. But you're still going to need to be able to haul wood, haul water, whatever, move stuff around, till a garden, mow a lawn. We've talked about that before. People, I'm not going to mow the lawn. Well, if you want disease, snakes, ticks, that sort of stuff, don't mow your lawn. You want to give great cover for somebody to sneak up into your house, don't mow your lawn. So tractors, anything like that, you're going to need fuel. Books. This is something that nobody seems to talk about, but one thing that everybody should be collecting as part of their preps is books. Whether it's canning books, recipe books, survival books, or just pure entertainment books, you're going to need that because there isn't going to be an internet to go look up. How many questions I get via email or even in the comments, I've got this problem, or how do I do this? There isn't going to be that option. There isn't going to be I'll Google it. You're going to need some sort of reference guide because nobody can know it all. I don't care how long you've been canning in your life, for example, you don't know every recipe exactly how to do it. You refer to something. You're going to need books. Make sure you are adding them. Again, Goodwill or book drives or you can find all sorts of books. Build a library. Like I said, on the entertainment side, absolutely. Get children's books. Get adult books. Get whether you like sci-fi, whether you like romance, whatever, you're going to want an escape. Everybody's going to need some downtime. It's not your turn to cook. It's not your turn to pull guard duty. You're not sleeping. You want something to escape for a little bit. And there ain't going to be Netflix. Finally, tools. And whether this is a hammer, this is a saw, this is a shovel, whatever. Again, there's not a whole lot of us out there who have metallurgy skills or blacksmithing skills. Or, can you make me a screwdriver? How many of you know somebody that could forge you a hammer? Probably, maybe if we're lucky, one on the channel, 100 some odd thousand people. Maybe one person here could make a hammer. You don't want to be trying to repair something using a log as your hammer. Again, go back and look at, I don't know, the Amish or, any of the, I don't want to say non-modern, but I guess that's the best way I can put it. You know what I mean? Societies. Sure, they built a mallet out of a piece, 2 pieces of wood, and they're driving a peg. Great, okay. More modern-wise, you're not going to be fixing your door if something like that happens. You need screwdrivers, you need screws, you need hammers, you need nails, you need saws. There's going to be repairs. And oh, by the way, there isn't the local handyman that you're going to be able to call that's going to come over and say, sure, I'll do that for you. You need to have that sort of stuff too. I know there's hundreds of other things that you could say we need to have, and I'd love to see it in the comments, but stuff that you think that you're not going to be able to get. You're going to be able to get food. You should be able to grow it or raise it. We know there's plenty of ways that you can get water. We know there's plenty of ways that you can get electricity, again, if you can afford it. Think about the things that aren't going to be available. No, I don't care if you've got $1 million, if you've got more gold coins than you know what to do with. If it ain't there, if it's not available, that's what I'm talking about. Have a good morning. Pinball out.